Oh. What shall we do here? I think I might have more of these, like things that it's not really sure why I cannot find all of my tasks like this. These probably the ones that are derived directly from maybe I don't think I have a struct like that. Nope. So maybe class. Task to task DQ. Yeah, you gotta wonder why I put task to task DQ in Vika utils, right? But, well, but then again. That's a comment. So pipeline cache is, I'm just checking if everything now is in Vulkan task. All my tasks. Pipeline cache. Pipeline factory. Characteristic range slot H. Oh, this one is in Vulkan descriptor. This is a task. I want it to be in task. Or do I not want it? No, still in descriptor. I think nothing about C#. Space task. I have to close that again. Yeah, if this thing is only needed inside task, I probably should put the whole detail thing also in task. How many detail things do I have? That's the same thing. Only those two. Yeah, okay. So let's just not use detail at all. Sorry, not use descriptor at all. So now I have task, closes there. Utils has print on for task. I should already have that somewhere. I don't know. Using namespace shadow builder. Nah. Really? This is a header file. Let's not do that. C# does not need C# does not need header files. Yeah, that would be very interesting because it is indeed very. It feels like duplicate code, you know. You have to do stuff twice. Certainly, all the functions, at least function signatures, must appear in the headers and then again in the .cxx file. But I guess it could be automated. You just have to scan the .cxx files then every time. So it would compile a little bit slower, but I don't want to have to do this either. Maybe I should try to compile it, then delete it and see what happens. Detail, see the resource member is a member of what? That's shadow builder. Update was not declared. That you mean descriptor updates? Well, I probably did then, Descriptor, no. Set index hint has not been declared. Also shadow builder, I guess. Descriptor. Descriptor update info. Also descriptor. Again update. So I went to the to an optometrist today to have my eyes examined, because I see a double image with one eye sometimes when I look at the screen. Yeah, they couldn't find anything, but my eyes are 160% better than average people. He didn't have anyone with eyes as good as me for a long, long time. Same thing as in my youth. When I was a teenager, I was tested, and then the doctor went to small text, you know, I could still read it. And then he said, well, I never go this small, but since you can still read it, I'm curious, so let's go smaller. And then in the end, he said he had never had eyes as sharp as mine in his office. But then I was a teenager, and now I'm 58. And my eyes are still both like way sharper than most people. Way, way sharper. So that's kind of a good thing, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely have dry eyes. They hurt a little bit. Telugu bro code. Well, I don't know what you watched, because it's only seldom that you come across really difficult code in this project. I mean, did you see the templates that are using lambdas and folding expressions? Consider those the most sophisticated that code that I have, or maybe yeah, in combination with the sequence stuff. Sequence. I think it was called integer sequence or something like that. It's not my code, external. Yeah, this kind of stuff. Well, yeah, on the other hand, the only reason I find this difficult is because I didn't even know it myself and someone else wrote it for me. Okay. This is what I consider difficult code. So these are, see, this is a folding expression. So templates using folding expressions, and what is this called? I don't even know the term for it. I'm not seeing folding expressions here. They are not. No. I post. No, folding expressions have parentheses around it. So that's something like parentheses and then something operator dot dot dot. So most is external. I guess this is a folding expression. Yeah, well, this is what I meant then. Piece of code that is among the, I think, most sophisticated, so that's C++ 20 or something. Not even sure. It takes a while to understand what it is doing. So you have a template and then a lambda and then another lambda, and then that lambda is being called with a folding expression. But yeah, the reason I find this difficult is because I didn't write it. Someone else wrote it for me. And then I understood how it worked. So I should still be able to understand how it works, but I've got it again. Now it's more like, yeah, well, okay, this works. Don't have to look at it again. Yeah, and standard forward stuff. I mean, there's external, of course, again, but I forget all the fancy words for it. This is like if you use standard forward, then this is a universal argument. So that's not the same as say an R value reference. So this is normally you two ampersands. You would call that an R value reference, but if you have two ampersands followed by 3 dots, it's something else. It's called an what I just said, a universal reference. So if you use this and then that args is used inside standard forward. So basically you have this whole expression here, exactly like it is with some type here, args, and then you use that. Then you call this function with exactly the same types as that you were passing to this function. So it's kind of a templated version of in C code is a standard args, you know. So a lot of arguments and you just want to pass them on. But this is completely type safe and compiler time stuff. But yeah, it's stuff you need to know, you know. Okay, this is an R value reference, so we use that with standard move. So it is an R value reference, and then you pass an R value reference rather to it. Then this function is called when you pass an R value reference. But key itself is an L value reference once you are inside this function. So then you need to use standard move to cast it again to an R value reference in order to pass it to the next function, which then also takes an R value reference. It's not really difficult, I think, but definitely in knowledge that you have to learn. You would never figure that out by yourself. So maybe you need a book or some kind of tutorial on that topic that explains it with examples and stuff. And then it's quite a lot. It's quite a lot these days, yeah, in total. Before you had every possible syntax of C++. I forgot what I was doing, of course. Does it compile now or not? What does en passant in chess have to do with this post? I think en passant is pretty rude. So a tiny innocent little pawn that passes you, then it's you take it en passant. It's like slapping a child in the face. I did not say en passant. Nope, no way. Said key context has not been defined. I think I had some kind of nightmare. Not sure I should tell it because it's a bit stigmatizing for a certain group of people. Maybe, I don't know if I even use the right word, but there was some kind of guy who was very, what do I call it? Opdringer. What is opdringer in English? Opdringerig, is that intrusion? Intrusive then maybe. Nah, I don't know. Socially intrusive. So you're like, I was doing something, I think with my brother I was there. And then some stranger, you know, he's just getting in our circle and starts communicating, and it's hard to get rid of that guy. And then he had some kind of illness, contagious illness on his skin. Let's put it out like that. And because it was contagious, I had a good reason to be scared of it. And slowly during the dream, it turned out that he was like a pure psychopath. He was out to infect us. So we tried hard to get rid of him, and in the end, dead bodies were falling. It was a really weird dream. No, it was not a zombie. It's probably something that really exists. But it was just a dream. So anyone with that kind of disease should not take it personal in any way. But the dream, in the dream itself, it was a psychopath figure that deliberately wanted to infect people, basically, and yeah, just by touch. So we tried to get it away harder and harder, and in the end, we literally had to kill him. Well, it was differently. It was like that guy was killing people. It was like really, I don't know. I can't remember it exactly anymore. But I think. Yeah, I don't like dreams like that. They're not happy dreams. descriptor, yeah, descriptor, I guess. Descriptor. Set key context. That's the third header. Every header gets its turn, it seems. Now we get descriptor info. Yeah, it's just a descriptor, like it says here. I'm using NeoVim. VI is just short, just an alias. Oh, I think move to task. Yeah, now it's a task. Okay. And then combined image sampler is not? I guess it isn't. No, definitely not. That was a shader resource. And is the other thing that I see here, texture update request, is that not a task? See, that is derived from update, which is, well, looked at it many times before, and it's not a task. That is in descriptor. This is in descriptor, everything is descriptor. Texture request, descriptor. Every day I think, now I have done enough with namespace task, then still more has to be done. Such a namespace move is not a combined image sample updater is not a member of descriptor. Yep, it is task. Yes, 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 yes. Delay SEMA for destruction. Is now in detail. What do you mean now? Looks like Vulkan detailed this. So where is it used then? I mean, it's used here, right? Yeah, that's the only thing. So it should be in the namespace that this thing is in. That thing being synchronous window, which is simply task. So why is it not in why is it not detailed task then? This should be in task. Yeah, I'm Carlo, but I guess you mean me. I'm using a PC with three, I think it's 23-inch monitor. Well, I have two 23-inch monitors and a 21-inch monitor. I don't think I could do this on a laptop, no. No way. Real coders, I mean also professional coders. If you look at professional workstations, they definitely should have a very large monitor. Preferably at least two, and they're probably larger than the ones I have. Two very large monitors. Then you're pretty sure, then you have a nice setup. And if your company is giving you just a laptop and, well, you have to travel, so now you can work from... okay, look for the next job. I mean, unless you are not really into coding. It'll be like if you're a salesman selling in the whole state and they give you a bike instead of a car. It would be like, do you want me to do my job or what? Monitors cost like a few $100 these days. Okay, I don't know anymore. What was the problem now? Make, oh, see, it's the same problem, of course. Invalid use of incomplete. That, it would be nice if it said where this thing was defined. Oh, yeah, it says for declaration. VI. Pretty sure this is now inside namespace task. Boys Bunny, can you explain to me why people come to C++ YouTube channel about Vulkan engine? Well, some random guy writing Vulkan engine in C++. Not even a tutorial. And then ask me how you can download Parrot in a virtual box. Okay, that must be it. I mean, really, seriously, I don't want to insult anyone, but when you ask that Solar Man, I feel like this must be a 13-year-old who just discovered the internet and by coincidence found my channel and just has absolutely no clue about how to use the internet to find information. And thinks, an expert. Let me ask him a question. But you seriously cannot ask me random questions about computers. Let it at least be about Vulkan. Or maybe a sophisticated question about C++, but even that, it's not related to my project, then there's other sources. Way better sources as well. At the least you could start with Google and then I don't know, you can ask on IRC, on Discord. Google Stack Overflow is one of the best things. And if you're really, really desperate, then you could ask ChatGPT. which then gives you a wrong answer, but at least you'll have a few keywords that you can look for with Google again. Invalid use of incomplete type. Again incomplete. Forward it here. What do you say, Post? Is he a freeloader? Okay, I didn't say that. I am inconsiderate. Just because it's a good joke doesn't mean that you have to say it. This thing is again not in the right place. It should be in task. Vulkan task. Yeah, well, just put it there, I suppose. Namespace task. I should rename my my YouTube channel to live C++ coding, moving stuff from one namespace to another, or just live namespace moving. No, not moving namespaces. I'm moving classes. Live moving of classes between namespaces. That's a very long title though, so that's why I just picked a vulkan engine. It's much shorter. It's again talking about descriptor, blah blah blah. And this time it's not telling me where it did declare the bloody thing. I'll just have to... Oh wait. Well, it does say where it is using it. That's probably also useful. Add shader stage is in pipeline. Variable or field, prepare combined image sampler declaration, declared void. Okay, who can explain to me what this means? This is an interesting error, you'll see it more often, and it doesn't make any sense. But you can translate it, almost like a semantic translation. So the error is error, variable or field, and then comes some name, and then declared void. What does that mean? So this thing here is declared void. Okay, we are in namespace pipeline, and add shader stage is defined in namespace pipeline. So in Vulkan, here's another namespace, and another one, but those are opened and closed, and the last one. So really, this is Vulkan pipeline. and we define add shader stage, and then it combines, and this is also in that same namespace, and then it complains about that it is declared void. The reason is that it does not recognize one of the arguments as a type. It does not recognize this as a type. In fact, it's just nothing. And then it complains about that thing. Ain't that stupid? Oh. Yeah. Okay. Next error is combined image sampler updater has not been declared. Yeah, that's just weird because we're in the wrong namespace. It has been declared, but in a different namespace. I think also here I really could have said, did you mean, or this or that, but yeah, we are not in that namespace. It only says, did you mean some other namespace, blah, 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 if that namespace is visible, which in this case wouldn't make any sense because it was about a declaration. Update was not declared. Now it says, did you mean, because it does know about descriptor update. Because now we are in task, and no longer in descriptor. So you have to put descriptor in front of everything that needs it. That would be this one as well, I guess. Descriptor. This is a .cxx file, so maybe here I should do a using namespace descriptor. But okay, let's do that some other time. No. Well, it depends. If I'm getting a lot more of these errors, then I'll probably do it. This is Arch Linux. Frame resource capable descriptor set was not declared in this scope. Tiresome, isn't it? Got the feeling I'm going to get a lot of these, but I want to know how many. And therefore, let's type them all in. I think it's going to be pea soup again today, because it's again late. And it was descriptor, right? A lot of descriptors. Gee, there's a lot of descriptors here. Combined image sample updater is not a member of Vulkan descriptor. And yes, you are right, Many Shekel. Although I kind of expected this. It's not that everything falls apart, it's more like I did it on purpose and then I have to do a lot of work to fix the rest again. Combined image sample updater is not a member of Vulkan descriptor. Did you mean task? Yes, it has become task. And this is in pipeline factory, which is in task, so I don't need to specify task. Kana, I appreciated that you tried to use a translator, but it's not translating everything. I just see a few English words and the rest I don't understand. And I guess you won't understand me either. I seem to have more viewers who just don't understand English. See the resource base. Shader builder. Rather, this thing is in shader builder and I'm currently in what? In task. I'm so not happy with my namespaces, so don't look at this and think it's okay. Because I have now currently namespaces really all over the place, which I type out in full, and I'm not feeling happy about it. But I think you cannot go directly to the correct code. So my first step is to get it to compile, and then maybe later, maybe much later, so many weeks or whatever, I'll get some kind of insight and then I'll do more moves, and then in the end maybe we'll get less namespaces. But just like the move that I did 2 days ago, it allowed me to remove a lot of namespace prefixes. Although now I'm adding them again. Resource base does not have a type. The problem is that now I changed the namespace that this code is in or something like that. Yeah, but I did that days ago. This is in task. I did not move share resource base, did I? Oh, I removed the using namespace somewhere. Yeah. I probably should not have removed it because it's used a lot. See, the resource base is in shader builder. I suppose that if a task, which is therefore in namespace Vulkan task, just because it is a task, is relying or using a lot on classes in another namespace, then I should be doing using that namespace. So, like in this case, I really need to have a using namespace shader builder because, man, it's all over the place. But I only want to do that and in a scope where it is local. In other words, not in a namespace in a header. At most inside a function scope or inside a class scope. Or in whatever scope in a .cxxl. Now what was that? Cannot convert const vulkan logical device to task logical device. Vulkan. That's strange. I moved this to Vulkan task because it is a task. Oh, I just have to put task in front of it now then. Task persistent async task. Really? Twice task? Wow, it compiled. Now what I was really doing was looking for this. And then finding everything that is derived somehow from AI stateful task, making it a task. And that includes stuff that is derived from task to task DQ. I just moved this one, combined image sampler updater. And I think I already moved synchronous task. Yeah, moved that one. See, that's in task. Logical devices in task, and then we have async task. We also moved that yesterday, and synchronous window is definitely there as well. I kind of should have it, unless, you know, one of these things is a base class, which I derived from, and did not put that in a in namespace task yet then. For example, I would think that task to task DQ always uses AI stateful task as first. So this becomes a base class of the template class. But then again, maybe I'm not. So this one does. This is just a definition. This one does. And oh, this one is derived from synchronous task. So that I didn't see it. Immediate submit queue is derived from persistent async task. This is again AI stateful task, which I just moved in. And here I have another AI stateful task. So the ones that are not derived from AI stateful task are this one, but it's already in Vulkan task, and this one, but that is inside synchronous, which is also in Vulkan task. Suddenly get the feeling that I moved all the tasks into a Vulkan task. This really should be more or less the last thing. So that is async task. Think. What was I doing? Oh, I committed it. Yeah, I wanted to do a grep on the git diff. So we had this file. This file is a .cxx, and I added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, well, 8 I think, or 9. So let's change that one then. What? No, not in synchronous. Damn it. Let's go to the top, search for this, and then go up. I can just put it here, I guess. Using namespace shader builder. vulkan. I could repeat this one to make it clear where the chat resource is. Let's just repeat it. Well, you gotta say that cleans up. And here again the same thing. That's back to the top, I think. I think you're neglecting your kids' phones, buddy. I mean, semi-joking, of course, but why on earth are you doing those things at the same time? I mean, watching your phone. What do your kids think about it that their mom is always busy with the phone? I really can picture it. Our mother was never there for us. She was even playing with her phone while she was giving us a bath. Yeah, okay. Uh-oh, Mark Post is walking the sharp edge again. Dangerously close to the edge. Yeah, it was a positive message. Arizona, it's dangerous to talk about ChatGPT here, at least in a positive way. That's forbidden topic. You can say ChatGPT sucks, but you cannot say anything positive about ChatGPT. Because it sucks. It compiles. Let me think about this. Let me think about that. What we want to do next. Yeah, okay, just let's call this whip get commit minus a. And then finally we can do some real work again. But I also have to eat. I think it's a pipeline. Let me edit this. So now I have in characteristic range.h a class called characteristic in namespace vulkan task. And this is a task because it is derived from characteristic range, or it is a task. But the bloody thing only has a single state. That's hardly a task, right? Plus, it's only to be used to derive from. And then the derived class also must have a single state. No, I think Python is a good language and it's worthwhile to learn it. But unfortunately, I don't know it, and I don't feel that I have the time to learn it, to learn a new language. I know AWK a little bit, and SED, and Bash. And in that same category, I wish I knew Perl. But same thing, you know. It's no time. But I don't really consider Perl to be a real programming language. It's more like a scripting language that is super powerful for certain things. Python is more like a real language. But I'm biased, I must say. I have a friend that is a professional Python coder. So that's the reason I think it's a good language, I guess, because I respect the guy a bit. What am I doing? Oh, right. I'm distracted by the chat, so I'm gonna click on this. Let me do something else. Okay, whatever. Or this one. Yeah, I should eat, and I also want to do something real work. The trick was that I want to maybe keep characteristic, so users can derive from it and then extend it with their own states. Just still be a task somehow. But the current initialize implementation of characteristic contains only this. I mean, you would almost think that you might as well derive from characteristic range and then do this yourself if you really need the task. Let's see how this characteristic works. State and default first state derived class, yeah. So you can derive from characteristic. Oh wait, this is range. Let's have a look at how the Now, for example, this one. Much simpler is not possible. As a single state. Yeah, just maybe I should remove it completely. But I probably want to keep documentation on how to do it. And I can best make that documentation when I am certain of it. CQ, I should implement it once first. I'm not going to use base though, because that might be too simplistic. Let's use the vertex pipeline here. Oh, that is derived from range. I have others one. Let's should not use this one then. Let's use uniform buffers. Characteristic, basic again. Let's not do basic. Now this one is derived from vulkan task characteristic. It's also derived from add vertex shader and add fragment shader. But okay, it has a single state and it does not have any condition string. I'm going to delete this. I don't think I need it. Check that compiles. UBT, 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 UBT. Bleep. No. Okay, we begin here and we do this and then we just execute that, which is kind of stupid, I think. But okay, let's pretend that this class does not exist. Then the direct base class must become instead range. And of course this one is range. And this one is range. And I'm supposing that characteristic, whatever you pass to that, is just passing it on to range anyway. Yeah, using here characteristic range. No, it does have a constructor. Need signals is set to 0. What is characteristic set for signals then? Cannot find tag pattern. Right, that just sets it to do fill. You can only add to that. Oh, okay, is the thing I protected? It's public even. Ridiculous. Okay, I can set it to 0 then, I guess, in my own. And that came with a comment, I think. Let's add a comment as well. Okay, and then this thing, I'm passing here owning window and a debug boolean, while range takes also an index type begin and end, but they have defaults. Yeah, I should have a look what this is passing, I guess. It's just passing 0, 1, which are the defaults. Why am I passing it then? GW debug only? The defaults are 0, 1. Right, okay, like that. Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. If you want to have, you have to pass that that debug value, I guess. And that's the only reason that I have to pass the defaults again. So that's why I did it like this. And then I have to do that here as well. So now I use a range and then I use here 0, 1. And now we get the same thing. So now uniform buffers test pipeline characteristic is no longer derived from vulkan task characteristic, but from vulkan task characteristic range. And I'm passing the right things here to the constructor, and we set the right variables in the constructor. And you just have one state here. However, I have to extend this now because we don't have characteristic initialized anymore. So instead, I should just execute that. I mean, I'm just really running a function here that is doing it. And then, yeah, I'll just have to copy that code, I suppose. So all of this has to be done. Also end with running the run state directly on the direct base type. This kind of looks just like an extra state. If it is repeated, I don't think so. Need signals or purposes, set state, characteristic range, preprocessors, awaited, return, finish. Yeah, it's not repeated. Do not really need initialized anymore. I'll do need to call this, but I can just, I could, yeah, I mean it's duplicated code. I don't want to demand that the user duplicates it, so maybe I should make it a function of like a protected function of characteristic range, so I can just call it then. How shall I call it then? Does it look like something we already have? It calls copy shader variables, calls character range initialized. That's an important one, I guess. Let's compare it with the code that does this already. So yeah, it looks very much the same. Call copy shader variables, and then we call initialized. And then we do an assert, which I will ignore. And then we do an if, and then we do finish. That's totally different, of course. This part looks pretty much different. So here it checks that the signals are not, oh, you see, do fill signal is not set. I might make that an if. Because here it should be set. I think that's what I'm going to do. So you copy all of this. Paste that in, 12 more lines. Oops, and then instead of using an assert, I'm just making this an if. This is not a range. Yeah, that looks good. So I just moved that characteristic initialized code into the characteristic range initialized now. And then we can just call that instead. And I got rid of the characteristic, the non-range characteristic. Something like that. Yep, and then I can do range here. So now I'm not using characteristic at all anymore. How do I check that? Well, that seems to work. So now I'm going to add, let's say, I'll add a characteristic header, which is then not a task. That's easier said than done. I think it has to be a task. Yeah. But I don't want it to be a task. That's problematic. So from the outside, it doesn't look like a task anymore. But it is a task. Should I put it in namespace vulkan task, or should I put it in namespace vulkan pipeline? Difficult. I think I'll put it in namespace vulkan pipeline. Was the user should be completely shielded from the idea that it is a task. But I'm not sure. So I'm going to do that by deriving from characteristic range privately. Not even sure that is possible. I don't think it's possible, but okay, I'll fix that in a minute then. Let's derive from characteristic range. So at least now it's completely shielded that this is a task, because the task is private. And then this thing must mimic a lot of what I just did in this header file. I could run it from the initialization thing. I mean, this whole initialize, this now it's a state, but so it's the initialize state inside multiplex implementation. But we also have an initialize implementation. I'm thinking about running this there instead. I don't think it makes a difference really. And hey, it's called initialize. So don't sue me. Now, on the other hand, then we have to, nah. Actually, it's an idea. It's an idea. I could do all of this. I could do all of this. I think in initialize implementation. Yeah. And then we just the first state that we then actually run is simply this one. I think that will work. I think the private is going to work. That way the private is going to work, but maybe the private is going to work anyway. No, this is the only way the private is going to work. Wait, actually, yes, it is. This is the only way I can use private. Well, in a clean way anyway. Otherwise, I either have to call the multiplex implementation of the base class, which I cannot do with private, or I have to call set state, which is also not possible when it is private. So that would be a cool idea. So let's, and I don't have this, I don't have anything. It's just not a task. That's the whole point, is it? Pretty sneaky. It is sneaky, that's what it is. Okay, so this is the first state that I want to run. So I'm going to have a private initialize implementation. Just override. No, let's call it final. If I don't set this, oh, if I override this, I'm not sure if it's getting set. What state will it run if I don't set anything? I think the first state of the base class. I'm not sure. Let's see. Characteristic range. It is on explicitly call set state. Not sure what is being run otherwise. Yeah, let's not rely on that. I'll just do it differently. I'll call this one base and then derive protected from it. And then we'll have a class characteristic which is derived private from that. So now it's protected the base class, so I can call set state. I probably should make this protected. No, it doesn't matter. Oops. I don't think it matters really. You can override a private function. You cannot call it, which is correct because I only want this function to be calling it. So. Yeah. So then let's you fix up this characteristic here. This is now derived from pipeline characteristic. Well, I still have to do my documentation. Let's copy this whole thing for documentation purposes. Oops, I lost everything. Or I never had it in the first place because I got it from here. I never had it in the first place, I guess. But that's only going to work then if I edit them both at the same time. Source window.h characteristic.h. Maybe I should have made it example code, but I tend to delete a lot of lines. I mean example code as in if def example code, which is never defined, and then we would still have syntax highlighting. Instead of that, now everything is a comment. Well, still quite large, but yeah, task is just big too. Cannot do much about it. I still have to fill in the normal usage. Normal usage, well, let's implement the normal usage now. Or the normal usage you derive from it. And then we no longer a task, so we don't need this. We don't have that. I could do this still, I suppose. Yeah. Don't need this or don't have this. I guess I still need this. So I don't have a range anymore, right? So this is no longer there. We now have base class is pipeline characteristic. So I just want to pass the owning window and the debug. That should work like that. And then this should also not be needed anymore. Before I delete all that, I better fix characteristic. Do I have a next? Nope. So that takes in the owning window pointer and boolean. Don't have a characteristic yet here. Characteristic. Man, can you even pass constructor to a private base? You better can, because you will even believe that I don't know that. I never use private base classes. Never use them. Extremely seldom. I think I used them before, but very seldom. Would seem pretty silly though if I cannot construct them from here, so I guess this should work. Protected. Which is in the exact same thing. Which makes you wonder if I cannot just use using. I'm going to try using here. It's kind of weird though, you know. It's private and then doesn't mean I can access it, but it is private. Private to this class. I think that's the only thing that would make sense. But and then I define that as public again. So here it is protected. Then I derive private from it. Then I say, if you construct this class, I want you to use the constructors of the base class, which was private, by the way, and protected here. But now I want you to make it public. So then suddenly you can call this directly. I mean, this thing doesn't even have a constructor. You just call that one directly, publicly. If that's going to work, then C++ is more intelligent than I thought. Go here. So now I can delete this. And we don't have that anymore. No, we have initialize anymore. And we don't have multiplex anymore. But we have an overridden initialize function now. Initialize. I'll just call it final as well. So the difference between final and override is that now you cannot derive from this class anymore and override it again. I guess it's might not be useful to specify that in this case, but hey. Oh. And then I just want to execute this code. Yeah, and that was it. So now we have a non, I don't know, like this better maybe. Why does it put it there? Wait, it's no longer a task. No. Where's my owning window defined? That is defined in characteristic range. Oops. And owning factory. Do I need to use that? Why am I even passing owning window? Wait, I need owning window. Yeah, that's sure. I need owning window. I think I can redefine the access specifier thing here. So I need to make it protected because it's currently private, right? Because I derived private. And these things are from the other base classes, so that's no problem. And compile as well, I think. Compile is add shader stage, yep. And this is add vertex shader. And this is what? Add uniform buffers characteristic range. Strange. That's really strange. Doesn't feel like making much sense, I have to say, but if I add a uniform buffer, I must have a shader. I think I should move this to add shader stage class. Yeah, probably. Anyway, I would have to because now they are also private. Let's first get around the problem that owning window is private now. Oh, and use vertex buffers as well. Making that thing private is a lot of pain. So I think maybe I should not do it. Try to compile this. This way I'll never eat, eh? So I don't care what happens now, but I'm very, very quickly going to stop. I wasn't looking at Jet Post Bunny, but yes, you're right. I see it. Oh, you just said it. It's pea soup time, indeed. What was that about? Oh, I didn't include the header. An IP logger link could be a link that just logs your IP, which is not very useful, but then they can continue with, say, trying to break into your PC or flute you, DDoS you. Normally you do not want to give your IP address away to random people. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Yeah. It's private within this context. Declared private here. No, YouTube would not do that. I don't know what Anonymous are talking about, but that's what an IP logger would do, would be. Declare private here, declare private here, declare private here. Let's do something about it. I'm owning window, I'm owning window, I'm owning window, I'm owning window. Private here, okay. Protected using characteristic base. Am owning window. I'm just gambling here, or guessing, that's a better word. Not bad. Task, characteristic range, add uniform buffer, is private from within this context. So apparently that worked, what it just did. So yeah, add uniform buffer. Yeah, I could just move add uniform buffer, I think. Because I can also add it here, as in, you know, make it protected again, but I think it's kind of weird that it is in what actually I don't know. We need owning factory. I'm not sure if the other base class knows owning factory. Characteristic has owning factory, but the other one then would be, well, this doesn't have any owning factories. So then maybe add shader stage. I could add it to add shader stage, but only if that has a factory. But bridges don't have factories any. They only have virtual functions. They don't have any member. No, I'll look at it anyway, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, nope. Okay, so that would be a good reason to have it in the class that it is in the characteristic range. This class doesn't know does not have a pointer to the factory. They have to pass the factory to it. Okay, I'll just leave it there then, and then wait, where do we add uniform buffer? And so we're gonna use that. Add that as well to Hello, Samuel. Vulkan task characteristic range, add combined image sampler, is private. Yeah, I'll have to add that on one as well, man. Is that also a part of range? Also part of range. Add combined image sampler, add uniform buffer. A realize shader resource declaration. I don't think we call that. So this should be the last one then. Ish. Maybe. Perhaps. 50% chance. Okay, make that 80% chance. It's not the last one. Private. Set needs signals. Well, where's that called from then? Required from here. And then I don't see it. What are we talking about here? Does this compiler not understand that I need to eat pea soup? If only I had a partner that could heat up my pea soup while I'm coding. That would be so nice. Or a mother, of course. They also did that. You're busy and then they suddenly come and they say, "Here, son, have some soup." On the other hand, they force you to stop whatever you're doing and come eat dinner at the dinner table. I have no clue what it's talking about. Is this about add characteristic? I have to read. Let's read this. Let's read it. In instantiation of Vulkan pipeline factory characteristic ID. That's the return type. So basically, Vulkan pipeline factory handle add characteristic. The characteristic acquired from here. Vulkan task characteristic range set needs signals is private within this context. Okay, now I'm getting it, but I could not find that line back with the set needs signals. I guess the set needs signals is only called from here. It is. And here it is public, I guess. Maybe we should make it public again to allow also the user to set whatever signals they want. Should not be too restrictive. So yeah, the thing is public. Let's make it public again. I mean, it's not related to it being a task, so who am I to make it not public? I probably have to make everything public that is public here. They're going to have a billion things that are not accessible. I mean, the protected stuff we already had now. But all those public things. Probably all of them. So that is terminate, set characteristic range index, set fill index. That has to be called from the pipeline factory, even though it doesn't call it. and so on and so on and so on. I'm going to make pea soup because this is going to take forever, aka another hour. I'll be back later. Dinner time.